Yeah.
That's
but
just me.
let's go down to the told you so team of the week here. And Grant, now
Yes.
back to back picks here. Now, who is your
Yeah.
told you so team of the week? I feel like I have a good idea of where you're going to be going with this.
Well, you mentioned Daniel Jones and how the Bears are headed down that path. The New York Giants are my I told you so team with how inept
Oh,
they
I
are
thought you were going to go
offensively.
somewhere different.
No, just curious, who did you think? Now that I already said the
I thought
Giants.
you were going to go with the Dolphins.
I strongly thought about it. I honestly did, but at the end of the day, they're still 6-3.
Okay.
They're leading their division. Yes, I do. Now that you mention it up, I do have serious questions about their offensive line, the ability to keep Tua upright, and then just Tua as a playmaker. When Tyreek isn't going, that offense isn't going. And you know, the Chiefs knew how to defend Tyreek because they saw how Bill Belichick defended Tyreek. You got to get in his face. You got to be physical with him, and you cannot let him get a free release. So yeah, there are some serious questions I have with the Dolphins, and it showed when they've played 3 legit teams this year. They're 0-3. When they've played 6 minor league teams, they're 6-0. And you know, so we'll see with the Dolphins. But I thought about it, but it's it's I can't let the New York Giants slide another week. This is unacceptable. That Coach of the Year award that Brian Dable has in his office, he stole from Nick Sirianni last year. Sorry, Dylan, but that's
Don't get me
it.
started on him.
It is. Yeah, that punchable face of his. Wow. Um, but the Giants, they have no weapons on the outside. They trade for an old, aging tight end in Darren Waller. They let Richie James, their second leading receiver, go last year after he had 56 catches. They have no offensive line. They have no playmakers. Daniel Jones is not the guy. And we saw this last year when they played the Eagles twice. They got their asses handed to them. And now Daniel Jones is hurt because his offensive line can't protect him. Saquon is just ruining his career there. What want to hear a surprise? Darren Waller's hurt again. He's gonna
He said he's feeling his hamstring from last year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
That dude goes down the steps wrong and pulls a groin muscle. He's not going to be known as Darren Waller now. He's going to be known as Kelsey Plum's husband. I figured it out. That's saying something. They're so inept. A horrible offensive line. Wink Martindale has continued to get worse and worse as a defensive coordinator over these last couple of years because the end of his run in Baltimore.
You're going to look pretty bad though when Daniel Jones is the quarterback on your offense. So you're probably not going to put you in too many good spots.
Well, then that's their fault on their GM for having one good year and saying, "Oh my God, we're in quarterback purgatory. Let's give him a 4-year, $160 million extension." That's bad management. I had the Giants nowhere near the playoffs. They look like a mess. They're just an awful team, and it's always good when a team on the East Coast is losing, especially the way they are. So, yeah, New York Giants, my I told you so team.
All right. Well, my told you so team is the Buffalo Bills. I was not high on them this year. I had them winning the division just based off of the way I thought the division was going to play out. I still feel Josh Allen is a really good player, and the way their schedule's set up. But right now they're about to enter into the teeth of their schedule, and it's going to get ugly. They are 5-4 right now. They are currently sit out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen, I just praised him a little bit earlier, but he is a turnover machine. I think that's partially because he knows he has no running game and no help outside of Stephon Diggs. The rest of his receiving core is nowhere to be found. Gabe Davis is hurt. Dalton Kincaid looks like he could be a nice player, but he got dinged up last night. The offensive line is a mess. The running game non-existent, like I said, and then the defense can't stop anybody. Now this is mostly due to injuries. They cannot get pressure on the quarterback with Milano out, and then Von Miller still coming back, and they lost somebody else who's I can't think of, but they traded for Roswell Douglas, but you're not going to win games with a middle of the road cornerback when you can't get pressure on him because he because when they have to cover for that long, some good quarterbacks if you're planning on making a deep run like the Buffalo Bills are, you're going to face Pat Mahomes, you're going to face Joe Burrow, you're going to face Trevor
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence. All of those guys are going to pick you apart if they have time to throw.
Oh, 100%. And the Bills are a team I also considered, or I consider them my disappointing team. I'm sorry, because who is this Sean McDermott calling this defense? He's sitting back in zone. He's letting teams go up and down the field. Where's the guy in Carolina? Where's the guy when he was in Philadelphia, getting after it, bringing pressure, putting other teams in uncomfortable situations? Who's coming? Who's not coming? It's like he just knows that my secondary is garbage. So to protect them, I'm just going to sit back and play the zone and let teams dink and dunk me. Leslie Frazier's gone, but it looks like Leslie Frazier's still on that sideline for Buffalo. It's just, it's unacceptable. And then for their GM to not upgrade the running game or the wide receiver position for these last 3 years, eventually Josh Allen's going to get worn out and it's going to catch up to him. And it's happening already. Luckily, they're in a division that I think is somewhat winnable. They still have to play the Jets again. I don't know if Rodgers is going to be healthy in that game and if the Dolphins can figure their thing out. But right now, Dylan, the Bills are outside of the playoffs. And if they don't get this thing figured out, it's going to look real bad because they just gave their GM and Sean McDermott extensions to start this year.
Yeah. And they have to figure out something. We've begged them to take a running back in the first round these last 2 years because they cannot run the ball. Their best running option is Josh Allen, who is still, I say, he is one hit away from being Cam Newton. And I hope it doesn't happen because I like watching Josh play, but man, he does not do himself any favors. He's had to turn himself into Superman again.
Remember last year in the first round? I think me, you, and Ethan all had Breece Hall going to the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think last year we all had him taking a running back too. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but
I can't. I'm drawing a blank on that.
I think it was Jahmyr Gibbs. I think we all had Jahmyr Gibbs going there.
It was Jahmyr Gibbs. Yes. This, and especially back to Breece Hall, he will be their worst nightmare for the next 10 years. And I know he wasn't able to do much in that first game, but he had that long run. And if his conditioning was better, or if he wasn't coming off a torn ACL and a torn meniscus, he takes that carry to the house. Sorry, but James Cook is not the guy. And it's just not helping your franchise quarterback, who you gave over $200 million to, is a failure on the organization.
Yeah, and